Hi everyone, in this video I'd like to talk about what makes a successful narcissist. What does the happy one look like? How do they maintain that level of happiness? And what does it really mean underneath all of that? So let's go over to my website and have a look at an article over there which is called The Successful Narcissist, and my website is called childrenofnarcissists.org.uk, and there's lots of information over there about narcissists and what effect they have on their children if you'd like to go and have a look. So let's go and have a look at the article. So what is a narcissist actually? So there are traits of narcissism, but to have a personality disorder, which around 6% of the general population are thought to have, then you have a disordered way of thinking and you live in a set of defences, and you have a real self that you're disconnected from, or it's impaired, it can't function properly, and you have the adapted self, which is that narcissistic, grandiose image. So the real self and the adapted self. A narcissist spends their life defending themselves against the deep wounds inflicted in early childhood, often by their own narcissistic parent. So this is my view, is that people that become narcissists are born with the inherent characteristics, so maybe more of a selfish nature, more of an arrogant nature, and then something happens that's an event, fate happens, or life happens, or they have a narcissistic parent, or some kind of trauma in their childhood, and this leads them to develop this fantasy version of themselves as a defense. There are other theories actually. There's an article on my website, which I can't recall the name of it off the top of my head, but that's all about the different doctors and psychologists over the years that have different theories of why people develop narcissistic personality disorder. So some people think it's because they've been coddled by a parent, spoilt by a parent in the early years. You know, if that is the case, then maybe that parent is codependent. There's something lacking in that parent and they can't look after their child's emotional needs. So there's lots of differing theories. Mine is that it comes from an inherent character mixed with trauma of some kind. There's strategies to ensure regular narcissistic supply. So narcissistic supply, you may have heard of, is the things that feed that grandiose image of themselves or feed the hole in their soul, however you want to look at it. So narcissistic supply is activities and relationships which fuel their grandiosity. It's anything that feeds it. There's strategies to ensure regular narcissistic supply. Make sure that they do not have to feel the abandonment depression which they carry and try to keep buried inside. Abandonment depression is an umbrella term which encompasses the emptiness, depression, panic, rage, guilt, and helplessness felt by a child growing up in a dysfunctional and abusive environment. They cope by denying any weakness in themselves and the reality of the underlying depression. Their narcissistic defense is based on a fantasy and not in reality, and the purpose of it is to reinforce their grandiosity so that they do not feel depressed. So this is a protection, a defense against that abandonment depression. Abandonment depression is a term from James F. Masterson, who was an American psychiatrist, and he specialised in borderline and narcissistic personality disorders. He has a really great book called The Search for the Real Self. If you'd like to buy that, you can get it from Amazon for around £8. Intact defences. The successful narcissist is one whose defences remain intact and prevent them from having to question their own sense of importance. To achieve this, they need to be creative and imaginative in their construction of a lifestyle which supports their grandiose view of themselves and fuels their narcissistic needs. Other people exist in the world of a narcissist to reinforce and reflect back to them the false image they have of themselves. This is why they have no interest in others for who they are. For them, love does not mean another person loving, accepting and supporting them, but it means to get someone else to admire and provide a mirroring of their adapted self back to them. So this is why they can't be challenged in any way, because if you challenge them, you're challenging that defense they have, and this can end up in a narcissistic rage or silent treatment or criticism, those general narcissistic behaviours. So what's also useful here is that there are levels of NPD. So here we're talking about the successful narcissist, but there actually are different variations on that. So again, my source here is James Masterson, and he talks about levels of NPD being high, medium and low. So he says, there are said to be 3 levels of NPD. These reference the degree to which the person with NPD is successful or not at securing admiration and attention. A high achiever will continually make the environment resonate to serve his needs. He is often in a profession which has supplies built in, such as acting, modelling or politics, and he will not usually come for treatment. So this means that kind of person has their defences very intact. They've set up their life which serves their needs, and they don't go to look for psychological help or treatment. A mid-level narcissist will have to work harder at creating surroundings which will supply him with supplies and admiration. They will use denial as a defence. A serious life event, such as a divorce, may bring him in for treatment as the underlying anxieties leak through. And a low-level narcissist will have very poor defences, and they may often be depressed. They are similar in character to someone with borderline personality disorder. The difference is in motivation. A borderline is driven by the need for approval and love, and the narcissist seeks adulation and mirroring. Relating to others. They cannot relate to others in a realistic way without giving up their defences. To replace their narcissistic defences with healthier defences would mean that they would need to undergo looking at themselves and developing their self-awareness, and this means to begin to feel the abandonment depression. Other people must be kept at an emotional distance, as letting people get close to them means that they will be triggered into feeling the abandonment depression and the underlying rage of their weakened and damaged real self. The narcissist also needs mirroring in their workplace relationships as they do in their personal relationships. Their behaviours are the same across the board, aren't they? So, successful narcissists. Narcissists are often attracted to positions in politics, business and social movements, or they may go into acting or modelling. They are attracted by the attention it brings, and there is plenty of fuel there, even though the work can be hard. People with NPD are often workaholics for the rewards it brings and as an avoidance tactic to escape feeling their emotions. They often like to be surrounded by other workaholics. Successful narcissists can make the environment serve their needs continually. Those around them praise and admire their achievements. This can be easily done if they are in a profession which has inbuilt narcissistic supplies. Many who are high functioning can manage to live for years within their delusion without questioning it and never realising consciously that they're living in an adapted self with their real self buried inside. These types of narcissists rarely feel the need to seek treatment. And James Masterson says that for a narcissist, and also for someone with borderline personality disorder, feeling good means not feeling pain. The successful narcissist is one who can keep escaping their pain. So when I'm using the term successful here, it means they're successful in terms of running from their pain and maintaining this delusion and this false grandiose image of themselves. So they don't then have to do the work and look within and face this depression. So I hope this video was interesting. There's maybe something in there that you didn't know already, and take care. Goodbye.